the Michelle Troconis case. And now here is Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who is coming back into the courtroom. So I hope, again, that once the audio kicks in, we will be good to go. I am grateful that they put the little audio speaker saying, hey, there's no audio. What do you guys think? What do you guys think is going to happen here? I mean, obviously this is a whole mess. I heard that the defense's sort of star witness kind of completely bumbled the whole thing. Oh, and obviously there is audio. Are you guys hearing the audio? And is it just me that is not hearing this? Are you hearing? Yeah, okay. Okay, great. We're going to have to, of course, figures. Oy vey. I have a mug for that. Well, isn't this a delight? Well, guys, sorry about that. I may have to jump out of this stream and jump back in and reboot. I'll be right back. Sorry, guys. This is just massive. Sorry, guys. You hear the audio from this. From unbelievable.
All right, so let me repeat. I said, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
So this was the verdict. For those of you that are just tuning in, I see the numbers are growing. So this was the verdict that was just read a few minutes ago. We're going to catch it again here on Law and Crime.
All right, you may be seated. All right. Just a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, through the foreperson, have you reached a verdict?
Yes.
All right, let me see the verdict form.
A lot of weird sort of firearms nonsense with this trial. Doesn't seem like her defense was quite as competent as I think they probably should have been. But again, I'm not a lawyer, not a psychologist, not in law enforcement, just a guy who's been through a lot of shit, as you see in the intro to the show. So I would assume that there would be some sort of obviously plea deal with Alec Baldwin. You know, he's going on trial in July. I don't know how he's not also getting down with this. I don't know.
All right, so let me repeat.
Yeah, I would agree.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Gen
through
X
the
Granny,
foreperson,
that
have you reached a verdict?
Yes.
All right, and do you wish to read the verdicts?
Sure.
Okay, I would start with count one.
Oh.
Okay, you heard both of them. Will the defendant please stand?
We find the defendant, Hannah Gutierrez, guilty of involuntary manslaughter as charged in count one. We find the defendant, Hannah Gutierrez, not guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in count two.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. Let me get those forms, retrieve those forms from you. I'm going to do what's called polling the jury. What I need to put on the record is that this is your individual verdict, okay? So I'm going to start with the gentleman in the back. Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Ma'am, is this your verdict?
Yes,
Sir, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Sir, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Sir, is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Sir, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Ma'am, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Ma'am, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Ma'am, is this your verdict? Ma'am, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Ma'am, is this your verdict? Okay, thank you.
So we'll get to when they
All
start
right, so
talking
you
about
completed your
sentencing.
service. Thank you so much for being here. It was a long trial. People may want to talk to you. Being here was a
By the way, this literally looks like my friend Jenna, who is who is an art director. I had to do a double take because we worked on so many low budget like horror films and just low budget stuff. And she's great. She's great. So I thought, is she involved in this mess? But I just saw her over the weekend because she just celebrated her birthday too. So, but I just thought I had to do a double take. It looks just like her.
It was a long trial. People may want to talk to you. This has been pretty much a lot of publicity, and you don't have to. Okay, so you can just simply say, I do not wish to talk and move on. And if anybody bothers you, we really try to protect your privacy. If anybody bothers you, simply call my division, and we'll figure out what to do. But you also may talk. Okay, so it's entirely up to you. Okay. All right. So you can escort them out.
Yes, sure.
All right. Thank you.
All rise.
George, just a minute.
So, for those of you that didn't hear, guilty on involuntary manslaughter, not guilty on evidence tampering.
All right, you may be seated.
So I'll I'll answer that
All right, is there
question.
anything that the state's requesting based upon the verdict?
We would request that Ms. Gutierrez be taken into custody.
Mr. Bowles?
Your Honor, we would request under, pull up the rule, Your Honor.
I would advise her lawyer to get LASIK surgery, by the
Your
way.
Honor, Rule 5402, release pending sentencing. In this court's discretion, under the same conditions or other conditions as this court would deem necessary. Ms. Gutierrez has been on conditions. She has not violated those conditions. She has voluntarily appeared at all court proceedings. Your Honor, I would request this court to continue conditions or whatever conditions this court would have on release.
All right, thank you. I'm going to remand you, and the reason why I'm going to remand you is you are now convicted. And so, and this is a death. It's a criminal negligence, but it's still a death. And so, deputies, you're going to take her into custody, and we will set a sentencing date. What is the best, what do you want to look like on that? And we need an order of remand, do we? Okay. Okay. Counsel?
Dude is up there like Mr.
In
Magoo.
terms of the sentencing date,
Yes.
at the court's convenience, will be available. There are 2 weeks in May that I'm unavailable. Those are the last 2 weeks of May.
All right. Mr. Bowles?
Your Honor, as soon as this court has time, we will be available.
All right, so, do you have any conflict like that? She said May. Do you have any conflict?
I don't know for sure, Your Honor, that I do have other trials, but I think mid-May.
Well, I can do it sooner.
Okay.
I just wondered if you had any conflicts along the way.
Doesn't look like mid-May, Your Honor. I do. I don't think I have any conflicts.
Well, I'm sorry, not understanding. Do you have, okay, we're in March. Do you have time before May?
We have time in April.
Okay,
Sure.
all right, okay. All right, anything else before the court?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We're in recess.
Okay, so a couple of questions. So as you guys know, I talked about this the other day on the show, and my own personal experience working in the industry is, 10 plus years as a cinematographer. I was in the union at one point up and through COVID. And I have a sort of very unique perspective on all of this because I've been on set when there's firearms. I shot a Western, as I told you guys years ago, and we had period pieces on that Western, and it was, we were using black powder chargers and
involuntary manslaughter, and
there's a
also
whole
not
thing.
guilty
Here's
for the tampering with
here's some of the
evidence
long
charge.
crime guys, by the way.
I think it was spot on. I think I would have found her guilty. All of the evidence was there. I thought the tampering charge, again, I've said this time and time again, I hate to use the word bogus, but I don't know whatever common term to use. There was no way that they could prove
I would agree
that,
with that.
there was cocaine in that packet. I would have been objecting all over the place to, all of the evidence, the question and testimony that was put forth with respect to that. But again, the only thing that I believe Hannah Gutierrez Reed had to do was check those bullets, take the time and check those bullets. It wouldn't have taken her 55 seconds. It wouldn't have taken her 2 minutes, but a life could have been saved that day. And I think that's what it comes down to, those couple of minutes right before she passed off the gun. Everything else that happened is just, it's just extra ancillary. It's the fact that she should have taken the time to check. She wasn't under any pressure at that moment. She did not take the time. It's sad. It's unfortunate. It's gutting, but this is what it is. I also think she was in over her head. I don't think she should have had this position. And that goes to show, that's evidenced by how irresponsible, how sloppy she was on set.
So I'm going to take up, what is this woman's name? Afi, this lawyer. I don't want to misquote someone's name here. Afi Patterson. Yeah, that is my absolute takeaway here. Like, look, as someone who has worked on set significantly, and by the way, for those of you, yes, we were talking about just so you know, we were talking about Shanna Gardner, and then all of a sudden this Russ verdict came in. So Shelly, you were welcome. Sorry, everything pivoted literally in the opening because literally the thing came in 2 minutes before I started, and then there was a bunch of technical difficulties. So I apologize. So again, my theory on all of this is, having worked on set, is yeah, she was totally in over her head. But again, this is something that I was explaining in the sort of the chain of command between, above the line versus below the line. And when you're a cinematographer, director of photography, as Halyna Hutchins was, you are in charge of everyone in the crew. You are the top of the below the line. So I do feel like in a lot of ways, that Halyna Hutchins herself was aware of what was going on, because there would be no reason that she wouldn't be. I think the entire set was chaotic. I think that day especially was chaotic, having six camera operators, between the camera operators and the camera assistants, walking off set, union positions, walking off set, created chaos for everyone on the set. This was a ripe situation to happen. Again, there were a lot of things in this particular scenario from my experience working on set. Like, look, it is COVID. Okay. So we've just come through COVID. It's the end of 2021, October 2021. You have, of course, inexperienced people on set, because the industry is just trying to get back to work and trying to get its bearings. So it's not surprising to me that Hannah Gutierrez Reed was in over her head and was trying to do something, and of course, like just so you know, on sets, like, people party. You're on location. People are drinking. There is drug and substance abuse. It is a common knowledge in the entertainment industry. You guys read about this in the tabloids. Like, it is something that runs rampant, right? And around this time, you just got to think back to, let's just say, during the time of COVID, alcohol sales, I believe, tripled in the United States or worldwide. Antidepressant and substance use issues skyrocketed. So everybody was all out of their minds. Now, this does not excuse anyone from having a live round that came on set, but it's no surprise that the whole production was sloppy. And if it was sloppy and this happened, then it should have probably been shut down. But again, to put all of this onus on just Hannah Gutierrez Reed and not just producers, I think is a very, very interesting thing. I'll give you an example. I attended a party with a bunch of my industry friends over the weekend. And there was one guy who I was like hoping to talk to, who had worked with me on a bunch of productions. He's a camera operator, camera assistant, top-notch union guy. I'm literally like, hey, where's dude at? And they're like, he's in rehab. And I was like, doesn't surprise me, because there was a lot of substance abuse issues. And, this was a guy who worked on some really dangerous sets with me. And, it is something. And I think I talked about it last week, but even when I was talking about the Rust trial and Hannah Gutierrez Reed, one of my very good friends said, hey, why is nobody's talking about the powdered substances that were on set? And I was like, well, yeah. And some of you even mentioned in the comments, why aren't you talking about that? And I was like, well, because YouTube, the algorithm, I don't want to talk about that. But yes, you have people who are on set, they are partying, alcohol abuse, abuse of narcotics. It is a perfect storm for something like this to happen. But in no way, shape, or form would there have been a it's okay, sweetheart, there's Marisol weighing in. Would there have been an excuse to have live rounds on set? So again, how those live rounds got on set, which took the life of Halyna Hutchins, which injured the director Joel Souza. I mean, there's no excuse for any of this, right? But I'm trying to give you guys a picture of this perfect storm that happens on set, because Illegally Read had said earlier, haven't we learned since the Brandon Lee incident? Again, there are a lot of things that happen in this industry. Film sets, Eye of the Moment says film sets are toxic places to work in. I think production has a lot to answer for this. In this case, Hannah is not the only one at fault. Yes, I think so. And yes, they can be toxic places. They also can be amazing places where artists come together and create something that's really magnificent. But again, in a situation like this, where there is, it's a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm for people, for accidents to happen. But again, that doesn't explain why there's a live round on set. And yes, I think Hannah Gutierrez Reed was completely in over her head. But again, there's no reason to have a live round on set. How that happened, that's That's the crux of the issue here. And yes, she was overwhelmed. Yes, she was working two departments, which was props and as the armorer. Yes, crew were falling away. You know, every drop falling off like flies everywhere. So yeah, you had all of that. But again, that doesn't excuse how live ammunition got onto the set. And that is ultimately what the jury looked at and said, "Hey, look, this is what this should never have happened, and it shouldn't have happened." Safety on set is always a huge priority for everyone that comes on the set. Whether I think I was sharing the story last week. A friend of mine worked on, I believe it was True Lies or some James Cameron production where two scissor lifts had fallen and crushed a person, a grip on a stage at Universal Studios and crushed the person between two scissor lifts. Again, very dangerous. I talked about how lighting and electricians on set who are working to run cable, which we have to build these things called waterfalls, which when you're using a dimmer rack, you have to take what's called Socopex, which is very, very heavy copper cabling, and you have to put it over and you have to build what's called a waterfall, which is essentially if you're throwing over, trying to use something here that I have on my desk that I could share with you. What is it? I don't know. So you have cables and you literally have to throw the cables over the rafter like this. And these things weigh like 100 pounds. They're insane. And when you're the rookie on set, you always have to lug these things on. They're giant. They're like 100 feet. And, you throw those up over the rafters, which are all wooden, and you're walking up on these high, tightrope like levels without any safety harnesses or anything like that. And, there's all these hazards on set. But again, you should be lucid while you're doing your job. And you should take the proper precautions. Safety on set is something that is of the utmost importance. And hopefully, unfortunately, this will be a cautionary tale for a lot of people that join the industry that, you need to take your own personal safety seriously, but you need to take the safety of your coworkers around you. I shared with you guys last week. I wonder if I can find it. The IATSE video of talking about the IATSE car camera video, car crash camera video. I think this is, okay, great. I think I said to you guys, this was in 2017. So this was in 2017, this video came out. And this was when I was in IATSE as a cinematographer. And we were, this is the handheld in vehicles. Yeah, okay, and this shows exactly what the unions talk about and about safety on set. You guys, IATSE is the International Association of Television and Stage Employees, and the IATSE Local 600 is the Camera Guild. So IATSE Local 600 is here in Hollywood, in Los Angeles. It's the West Coast guild of the Camera Guild, which is where cinematographers, camera operators, camera assistants, everybody that falls in camera department is a member of IATSE Local 600. I was a member of IATSE Local 600 for about 6 years until about the pandemic, when I started doing this channel and started doing other things and just left because I wasn't working anymore. And, COVID just ruined the industry. That was in 2022. So this is the training video that I talked about last week, which was something that we were taking a lot of, we were taking for granted, riding around in cars, filming on low budget particular productions where we didn't have sleds for camera cars, and we're trying to save money and filming up in the front seat with the actors, and how dangerous that is. And this is an IATSE video of that. And I mentioned it last week, but this is the video that I was referencing. Very important. This is an untowed vehicle. So you see how quickly that airbag deploys, right? So that's a camera.
We were
That camera weighs about
approached to look at
40,
what would happen if an
45
airbag
pounds.
deployed while a camera op was sitting near that airbag with a handheld camera. So basically, what types of injuries might be sustained by that camera op and anybody else in the vehicle?
Look at that. There you are.
This is a very dynamic event.
Here he is, and he's and I've done this so many times where you're literally sitting with your back up against the dashboard, looking back at the actor filming, not thinking while the actor is driving the car. If they bump something, boom, that airbag gets deployed. And what they say, 5.03 peak G's, right? That is a tremendous amount of force. And that camera's obviously lighter, but some of these camera packages usually weigh about like 40 pounds. Right next to your head, breaks your neck. These are things that we talk about. This is the exact same thing that we're talking about. And these are the things that we discuss as union members that we try to convey when we're talking about safety on set, is this type of situation, right? And this can easily happen. And, producers will say, come on, just get this shot really fast. We just need it done, Collier. We just want to do it. And it's your job on set to say, hey, look, man, no, I'm not going to throw a camera up in the front seat and risk my life. That's why IATSE, and that's why these unions put these videos out, to make everyone aware of what's going on. So you don't put your life in danger. So you don't end up with a broken neck. So the actor doesn't get killed. So the camera operator doesn't get killed. This stuff happens all the time.
That we're talking about. When the airbag deploys and it impacts different things in its way, it's going to send those objects on all sorts of different types of trajectories. So what we basically saw was that the airbag did hit the dummy and the camera and would send the camera flying, but exactly where the camera would end up was completely random.
That's what I talked about last time, 200 miles an hour.
When camera operators are in the car, they're sitting in a position to get the shot. They're not concerned about being in the proper position, where an airbag is designed to deploy without serious injury. So having the camera up, sit sideways, leaning up against the instrument panel where the airbag is inside, that creates really...
So that's a red that this guy has. That is a red Epic Dragon. I used to have that camera. That whole camera rig this guy is holding with the follow focus, it's got a Canon. It's got the same lens that I have on this camera that I'm talking to you guys right now, a Canon 24-70. No, sorry, 16-35. And the monitor, everything. That whole camera kit probably weighs about, with the battery and everything, he's got the shoulder harness, like that's probably a good 30 pounds right there with all that metal. He looks like he's holding the grips down. Yeah, at least 30, maybe 35 pounds all together with the iris rods and everything that's on there. I mean, a lot of it, most of it's aluminum, still very, very heavy. I've been sitting in this position, I can't tell you how many times in my life, filming with actors in the back of the car, driving, just taking it easy, not even thinking about doing something like this. But again, this is what happens when this is what we talk about when we talk about safety on set, which is something that, obviously in this Rust trial gets brought up, safety on set, being a part of, making sure that the right protocols are followed on set.
An environment where you're more likely to have serious injuries occur when that airbag deploys.
I should have showed this video last week.
We got kind of an exemplar camera. One of the things that I wanted to make sure is that there weren't any sharp edges, because all those sharp edges could cause damage to our dummies, just like they would cause damage to the person in the vehicle.
Yeah,
if that airbag goes off and launches that camera, anybody in the vehicle is at risk for injury.
6.97 Gs.
Happens is kind of what you see with a boxer. When the boxer is punched, right? That's the knockout punch. The other thing that's interesting with this particular test is the camera kind of hangs onto the head, comes down and crashes here. The person hits the seat, but then watch here, the camera actually comes and hits the head again in the back of the head. So there's like 2 or 3 impacts that occur with just this one test from that camera. It's not just the camera operator who is at risk, it's anybody in the car.
there you go. Safety is no accident. And, so that's what, that's what makes all of this so egregious in the minds of us in the industry with Hannah Gutierrez Reed, with this situation, which, because it could have been avoided. Again, how do live rounds get on a set? And when you look at all of that, that's just something that is, forget having live ammo. That is something that's so benign and just sitting there filming in a car. You're not thinking about the fact that your actor could literally drive into a pylon, a curb, the back of another automobile, deploy that airbag. Not only does it break your neck, it potentially takes your life, takes the life of the actor, could injure anyone in the back of the car. It's a lot to, again, safety on set, always a priority. Sorry, we kind of, completely moved off of what we were originally going to talk about, which is the Shanna Gardner trial, because there was some movement on the case on Monday. You guys have been asking my opinion about that. I'll obviously have to get to that in another episode. But I did want to do a little bit of housekeeping. A little bit of housekeeping with you guys. We did have some new channel members that I do want to give a shout out to. Again, sorry guys, we had the verdict had come in for Rust. We were having a little bit of issues with some of the audio, but we got it all solved. I wanted to say, I wanted to talk to you, give a shout out to our new channel members. We have Tana, who just rejoined yesterday. We have Lifelong Learner, who joined yesterday. Welcome to Mover Nation. Mover Nation welcomes you. Black Widow, who also rejoined. Thank you so much. And Black Widow she is a 9-month member. She rejoined, and she got the little Marisol badge for her as well. Tana did. And Karen Isabel Stewart, who also rejoined 3 days ago. Thank you so much at the mover level. Thank you all so much. If you are a member of this channel or you are a member of my Patreon, first of all, thank you for your support. But also, we are doing our Oscar contest. So please, if you would, we've had 9 responses so far. The Academy Awards are this Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. We're doing an Oscar contest. Winner gets a t-shirt. Second prize, I believe, is a mug. Third prize is some stickers. Please fill out the form, submit your Oscar results, your Oscar picks for best actor, best picture, best director, best cinematography, of course, best actress, best supporting in both categories. And, please join us. If you are a member of the channel as well, you can join our Discord. It is free. If you are a subscriber of the channel, you can join our Discord or a Patreon member. And then you get access if you become a channel member, you get access to all the exclusive things, which will be, of course, this month. We are starting our AV Club, where I will be doing at least one documentary or television show live stream with you guys through Discord. And this month we are going to do my film, A Murder in Mansfield. I might actually make that a monthly thing because there's so many people that are interested in that film, where I'll share with you my behind the scenes story of making the film, and directed by 2-time Oscar winner Barbara Koppel. So that'll be really exciting. I'm very excited to offer that to you guys, but you have to be a channel member to access that at the Thriver level or higher. But this month, we're just going to offer it for everyone who is a channel member, but eventually that will be a higher membership tier. So just keep that in mind. But I'm very excited. It's a new thing we're rolling out. And as I am winding down so much other stuff, there is a lot that I'm excited to offer you guys. And the link to the ballot is in the members tab. And I think you forgot the D there. There we go. But there's the link. You can join the Discord. It is free for all channel subscribers, channel members. You can join if you're not familiar with Discord. It's just like Slack. If you use Slack, it's just a bulletin board where I can be able to deliver all the messages and new content to you guys it's our little community online. And you'll have access to all these wonderful things that I've offered if you're a Patreon subscriber as well. Mover Nation, I appreciate all of you. Sorry for the technical difficulties today. I don't know what was going on. I just blame it on the rain. Blame it on the rain, like Milli Vanilli used to say. Blame it on the rain that keeps falling, or whatever it was. I don't remember. But again, the Ross verdict coming in. Hannah Gutierrez Reed has been remanded to custody. Her sentencing will be in a couple of months, apparently. And, my sort of takeaway from all this is that, as I explained, it's a really sad day for my industry that I worked in for so long and I'm still a part of. The Brotherhood of IATSE, brothers and sisters in IATSE, we lost Halyna Hutchins because of just this negligence on set. And there's, again, no reason that a live round should have been on there. I think the jury got it right, but I don't think that it's just falls on Hannah Gutierrez Reed. I think there are a lot more people that are culpable in this, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with Alec Baldwin. His trial starts in July with jury selection, I believe, on July the 2nd. We'll see what happens with that. I will cover more of this, but that is just my takeaway. But it's sad because, again, in a situation like that, no one wins. No one wins. And I talk a lot about on this channel about my own personal traumatic experience with my father murdering my mother and the senseless acts of violence. But also, we do talk a lot about these criminal actions, murders, things of that nature, where someone is intentionally trying to harm someone. And we do apply a little bit of empathy in that. But again, this situation, no one was trying to harm Halyna Hutchins. No one wanted to get injured, but this was just negligence that the jury just could not ignore that led to the death of Halyna Hutchins. And we have to keep a lot of compassion for not only Halyna's family, but also for the family of Hannah Gutierrez Reed, and for the film family in general, the IATSE family, the film and television community at large. This will send a lot of ramifications and reverberations through our industry, but will hopefully lead to a lot of change where people will learn that, like, you got to take this type of stuff seriously. Hopefully people will feel comfortable in speaking up on set when they are not comfortable in a working situation where they don't feel the people are doing their jobs properly, or they feel like their lives might be in danger, or their property might be in danger. It's a cautionary tale. This is a cautionary tale. That's the best way I can describe it. This is a cautionary tale for the film and entertainment industry. And today we see the results of that. We'll see what happens with Alec Baldwin's trial. Again, it's tough to watch these things come down when it's not like somebody was maliciously trying to hurt someone on the set. This was something that just was so unfortunate that happened, and to see the outcome be what it was just it's just a shame. So anyways, Mover Nation, we get through another one. Thank you for tuning in wherever you have been wherever you may be and however you may be listening or watching. Thank you for making me a part of your day. If you wouldn't mind, on the way out, please click the like and subscribe. If you are considering joining a channel member, please join the channel membership to be a part of our AV Club this month. We're going to screen my film, A Murder in Mansfield. Thank you all so much. Dog's mom, thank you for joining the party. A little bit of technical difficulties, but this is a tough day. Again, it's a cautionary tale for my industry, but I thank you all for joining and getting through another episode with me, and joining our Mover Nation, which is growing and growing. Thank you all so much for being a part of it. On that note, movers, we get through another one. I'm Collier Landry. I'll see you on the next one.
This podcast is made possible by support from listeners just like you. For exclusive content around this podcast, please consider supporting me via Patreon by going to collierlandry.com/support. Please subscribe via Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from, and please leave us a 5-star review. If you want to see video episodes of this podcast, please check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/collierlandry. You can find links to additional resources in the show notes of today's episode. This podcast is a production of Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Collier Landry.